Hi, I'm David. I'm a retired autistic senior. I'm also the world's smartest and laziest man. I'm not Elon Musk smart. I'm not good with math. I'm people smart. I read them. Also, I'm not a workaholic like Musk. I work the least amount possible for the maximum return. Some people call that lazy. I call it efficient. He works 120 hours per week. I perform 1 hour a week on stage. Who's smarter? Sure, he's saving the planet with his cars and rockets and satellites, but I'll save your mind with comedy, if you find this funny. If not, the door's at the back of the room. I'm retired, but I was forced to retire because of memory issues. Apparently it's a disability if you can't remember your friends and family. I thought it was a blessing when I forgot them. When the doctor asked if I'd like to try an experimental drug that might bring my past memories back, I said no, thanks. I'm fine with forgetting them. I think that's when he started to think I was psychopath instead of autistic. He's probably right. What I should have done is taken the pills and gone back to my old career, computer programming. But then I'd be working 40 hours a week, and most of my pay would go to the government for back taxes. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that in the opener. I owe a shit ton of taxes. That's the official amount. Shit ton. There's an actual measurement in Saskatchewan. How much grain are you hauling today? A couple of shit tons. I'm not good at math, but I did the math on back taxes. And even if AI doesn't ruin the field of computer programming, it'd take 10 years or more for me to pay what I owe. It seems like a lot of work, but I can just write the world's funniest stand-up routine and pay off that amount in one night. If you laugh. If you're not laughing, I'm fucked. Actually, I'm not fucked. I could declare bankruptcy and walk away from the debt. It would ruin my credit rating, but that's not a problem because it's already zero. I have no credit, so bankruptcy is not a threat to make me pay. It's a viable option. However, the only thing I like more than laughing is a good story. If I pay back all my taxes within a year of me standing on stage, or one of these stupid videos taking off on YouTube, then that's a great fucking story. End of story. So to pay back my taxes, either I work my ass off for 10 years, assuming the drugs worked, or I write a comedy for 1 year or less, or I declare bankruptcy and tell them to fuck off. Which would you do? If I was pretty, I'd find an old rich lady to marry and hope she dies soon. That sounds mean, but I'm autistic. I'm too honest, according to the doctors. How the fuck can honesty be a symptom of any mental condition, disorder, whatever? Honesty is not the problem. I clearly don't have the looks to be a gigolo. I cut my own hair. I wear clothes until they fall off my body. Plus I look young. Too young for a 90-year-old woman to hook up with. I look like her son. Good for her, but... Luckily I'm lazy and smart. Comedy will solve my lack of love life as well. At least one woman will listen to this and think, he's cute, or he's smart, or I'd fuck him. Look at all the millions Elon spends on his kids and wives, or whatever he calls the women he impregnates. I won't have to spend a cent. They come to the show, they fall in love with me, I go home with them, eat their food, stay at their home until they kick me out, and then go back on stage to attract the next one. Lazy and brilliant. Or I get lucky and the first night I meet the love of my life and live happily ever after. That's a pretty good fucking story too. Or I bomb on stage, go on a bender, and end up living on the streets doing fentanyl the rest of my life. Whichever. Elon has the flash and the cash, but I doubt he's a good listener. I don't imagine him having long, deep conversations with his concubines, unless it's about rockets. I, on the other hand, am functionally mute. I'm an excellent listener. I'll listen to your women problems all night long. I've got nothing better to do but look for material in your words, so that I can use on stage to further my career. So, to summarize, I'm disabled, autistic, broke, and can't dress myself. A perfect catch. Disabled, so you know I won't go anywhere. Autistic, so you know I'm honest. I literally can't lie, and everything I've said so far is 100% true. I'm broke, but I don't need much to live on. A few pizza pops and some beer. Plus, I'm funnier when I drink, not meaner like most men. I can't dress myself, but I don't care what I wear. Buy me whatever you think I look good in, and I'll wear it. Unless it looks gay. I did the math. The only way my lifestyle is attractive to another person is comedy. Put all this information in Tinder, and even if I look like Brad Pitt, I wouldn't get a swipe. I'm not lazy. This is just a better way. Actually, call me lazy. Call me a fool. The more ridiculous the story becomes, the greater the chance for success. The greater the chance for success. I'm lazy, but I'm lucky. When I was forced to live on disability due to memory issues. Did I remember? I can't remember shit about the past. Did I mention that? I'm lazy, but I'm lucky. When I was forced to live on disability due to memory issues. Did I mention I can't remember shit about the past? When I was forced to live on disability, I knew it would be impossible to find a place in Vancouver. Then, like a miracle, I found a room to rent in a house full of international students. I lied and said I was a student. But to be fair, I was planning on returning to school if I could. Currently on my floor, I share a kitchen and 2 washrooms with 3 female students in their 20s. I'm lucky because all of them remind me of my daughter, and I treat them like my daughter. I only talk to them when needed. I say hi to them when I run into them in the hallway, but there's no long conversations. Everyone seems to mind their own business. I hear them talking and laughing in the kitchen, but I don't join in the conversation. Again, like when a teenage daughter has friends over, you have to stick around the house so they don't bring boys, but you try and give them some privacy. My housemates are all pretty, but again, like my daughter's friends, I try not to notice. The only thing I do notice I don't like is the long black hair in the bathrooms. On their head, it's pretty, but stuck to the walls of the shower, it's not. The drain is disgusting. I've learned not to look at my feet while I shower. I tried to shove it down the drain with my big toe, but I started to gag. I'm glad I only had 1 daughter. 3 would have been a hair nightmare. To be fair, that's not completely true. One of the 2 showers gets pretty bad, but the one I use has been good for months. The girl uses it, doesn't seem to shed as much, and I can get it down the drain before heaving. I feel sorry for the landlord when that pipe backs up. He'll probably be able to save all the hair and donate it to cancer victims. I'm not going to say my housemates' names for 2 reasons. 1, to protect their privacy when this comedy gold crushes somewhere. 2, because I can't pronounce any of them. I can spell them as I see their mail on the kitchen table, but I can't pronounce them, even though they all introduced themselves to me the day they arrived. Instead, I have nicknames I use in my head. The smoker, the nurse, and this one sounds bad, but Petri dish, which is close to how her name is spelled, so I think it fits. It's not about her cleanliness habits. In fact, Petri dish is the one who sheds the least. The smoker scares me. Not on purpose, but we both walk quietly, and too many times I'm either leaving the house for a smoke or she's coming in after one, and we accidentally scare each other coming around a corner. We both laugh, but I'm considering asking her to wear a bell. I'm not sure my heart can take too many more surprises. I would wear the bell myself, but I'm already strange enough as it is. The nurse is the friendliest. I broke my hand last year, and she's the only one that asked me how. The other 2 didn't care. Or I guess she probably told them. She asked if I needed help with anything, but the only problem I was having was wiping my ass and showering. However, I remembered my golden rule, and if I wouldn't ask my daughter, I shouldn't ask her. Oh, and I didn't ask her for help. I kept my mouth shut, like I normally do around them. I do have a backup plan for taxes if this so-called comedy fails. Counterterrorism. I'll explain. I figured at least one of my other housemates, not the ones that live on my floor, but at least one of the other so-called students, is probably a spy for their home country. My plan is to catch them and collect a reward so large it pays my taxes and sets me up with a nest egg. I can always tell when new students move in. The Wi-Fi sucks for a few days as I think they're watching porn 24/7. Then they get out of their system and it goes back to normal shitty internet. I have no proof. This is a simple deduction, as I noticed Pornhub homepage looks different, like someone new is influencing the feed. To each their own. I'm not into BBW, but someone from another country sure is interested. Now, if the entire feed was old white guys hooking up with international students, and I knew I wasn't the one searching that, it'd be a different story. It's not. Trust me. I check it once a day, just to be sure. To be fair, it's not just porn. We all got a notice about someone downloading GTA 5 from BitTorrents. I respect the game, but there are better ways to steal games than torrents. Maybe I should give new housemates a lesson in VPN. Use promotion code KILLTONY if you sign up for ExpressVPN. Old comedians and old rich dudes are the only guys getting women in their 20s. And Elon, but he doesn't count. Sorry, I should say successful comedians, who are probably rich too. I think they prefer to be called a successful comedian over old rich dude. I love irony. Now that I'm 60, I'm surrounded by way more 20-something girls than I ever was in my 20s. Back then, if you didn't work with them or go to school, they didn't seem to exist. Bars were the only place to meet them. And although I'm a funny drunk, eventually I'd have to sober up and be myself. Now I live with 3. I go to the coffee shop during the day, and again, every barista is 20-something, hot and exotic looking. Where the fuck was Starbucks in the 80s? I would have either gotten a job there or spent my paychecks watching them work and trying to worm my way into their existence. Said now, I just look like a perverted old man, living with students and drooling over any barista that is nice to me. It's hard not to look like a pervert when you're old and alone. I try and go to the park and write, but it's noisy. Fucking kids. At least I don't look like a pervert there. I stay on the other side of the park, sitting on a bench tucked between a couple of trees, with a telephoto lens in my gym bag. Just kidding. The Samsung 24 has a great zoom. No long lens needed. I unfortunately can't lie. I have a Samsung 7. Technically I have 2, so it's like a 14 if I glue them together. That's an autism joke, in case you haven't figured that out yet. In truth, I can tell which old guys at the park are perverts and which are just lonely like me. Ear hair. When they sit beside me, I check it real quick. If it's long and out of control like mine, then I know they're safe. If it's neatly trimmed, then he probably has a wife at home, takes care of it. Either way, not a pervert. To be fair, you can see where I'm going with this joke, so I'm going to abort it. I do go to the park quite a bit in the summer to watch kids. Not perverted because I avoid the end of the park with the waiting pool and playground. It's nothing but kids falling off monkey bars or screaming at the top of their lungs like it's the first time they've touched water. I hang out by the ball diamonds, where parents let their kids run free like dogs. I like watching the kids push themselves until they fall face into the grass. Then I laugh. I need to stop making jokes about kids. No matter what, after 5 seconds it sounds perverted. I'll go back to jokes about my pretty international housemates and how they have pillow fights every night while scantily clad because the air conditioner's broken again. Okay, that last part isn't true. In fact, I like it cool and leave the AC on all the time, but one of them turns it off at night when I'm asleep. The following stereotype is true, though. People from other countries cook weird shit. I don't mind, I can't smell. My nostrils are blown out from years of coke. Not true. Adderall, yes. Cocaine, no. But it makes the recycling bin way more interesting to check out when I make my deposit. I do have one complaint, one of them. I'm not sure which one it is. I'm too shy to say anything about it. I kind of find it funny now, like when the smoker scares the crap out of me. The recycling bin is near the door to my room. I and 2 other people gently place articles in the bin, while the final person thinks they're in the WNBA making a 3-pointer at the buzzer, who throws a can from 10 feet away into a bin, and then rebounds it off my wall like a backboard. And I can't even figure out which of 3 does it, because it normally happens during my afternoon nap, and I'm too lazy to get up and say something. If I accidentally catch her in the act one day, I'll find something funny or sarcastic to say to get my point across, just like I used to with my daughter. Trust me, the daughter golden rule is all you need to attract women, especially if you're lazy, like me. Now to the racist jokes. Some of you may have heard about a Trump rally where comedian Tony Hinchcliffe told a joke about Puerto Rico, and the mainstream press had a conniption fit, which just drove his popularity even higher. Well, maybe it'll work for me. Remember the dream? comedian. One set to change a lifetime. Mine. Yours too, if you think this shit is funny. Not just desperate and pathetic. I can't be a complete racist because I don't know what countries my housemates come from. But I would say in any part of the world you consider Asia, and then some from other brown areas of the world. Is that racist enough? I mean, there are 3 rice cookers on the counter. Can't they share one big one? I'd even buy it because I have a rice cooker in my room, and the only reason I keep my room is I eat late at night. But if there's a continual house pot full of rice, I wouldn't need to. Maybe after I pay off my taxes, I'll buy the house one big-ass cooker and unlimited rice, on one condition: no rice maggots. What are rice maggots? Glad you asked. This is mostly a condition that affects white people, or people like me. Weird. Rice maggots are pieces of cooked or uncooked rice found on the floor or in the sink, or any place you'd rather not see a maggot, because for a split second my brain says maggot to me. Then I remember the odds maggots are much lower than rice, and I clue myself in. I won't be a Nazi about it. Here's free rice, but please keep the maggots under control. Is Nazi racist? I really need to get cancelled before I even stand up. I wish one of my roommates was Puerto Rican. But would they be international? What is Puerto Rico? It's not a state, but it's American. American isn't international for me, especially if you're from a territory. The whole concept is a second thought. Make it a state or cut it free and let it flow away, and let it float away like a big, fat garbage patch. See, I knew Tony was right to make that joke. It feels great to call things garbage patches. My hair is a garbage patch. My clothes are garbage patches. I'm a fucking garbage patch person. Hi, I'm David. I'm a retired autistic garbage senior with a plan to change my life through comedy and making fun of everything and everyone in my life now and forever. I call myself autistic, a retired autistic senior, but I'm really the retired autistic senior. It's not like there's a group of us, a club that meets monthly. I don't know many retired autistics, and I don't know many autistic seniors. Maybe I just want to be unique. When I got diagnosed with autism, I disagreed. I wrote a 200-page summary as to why the doctors were wrong. I don't think I'm autistic. I think I'm either lazy or stupid, or both. I have 3 20-something hot female international students, yet I fall for a hot barista. And I'm so dumb, I don't even use the 3 girls that surround me daily to practice on the barista that I'm actually interested in. That's not autism, that's just stupidity. There's stupidity. Since I've had the same 3 female roommates for over a year, it'd be creepy as fuck if all of a sudden I started to pretend to hit on them. I'm sure they'd think I'm gay. I'm sure they think I'm gay. If not gay, autistic, and retarded. I don't know if one comedy set can change the world, but sure could change one man's world. If this set goes viral, everything changes. If it doesn't, I just wake up the next day and do it all over again. It's a great thing about having a shitty memory. You can't remember how bad you did the day before. Perfect for a comedian. Absolutely number 1 requirement if you want to be good. Anyway, back to my living situation. I doubt any of my housemates see me as a father figure. Probably just some weirdo who eats pizza pops 5 times a week. I know they see my recycling bin contributions. I see theirs too. The only thing I know based on the recycling bin is when, quote unquote, it's that time of the month. And yes, all 3 of them are synced up in their monthly cycle. I don't know how they did it, but they all seem to get a check from their parents on the same day. And on that day, the recycling goes from ramen packages to takeout containers. Which, to be fair, is the same for me when I get my old age security check. I go from pizza pops to frozen pizza with extra cheese. Living the life while retired. I don't set a very good example. A very good parenting example. I sleep till noon. Lucky if I have a shower before 3. Then I'm out from 4 to midnight. I come back smelling like cigarettes and beer, or cigarettes and coffee. I don't set a good example for anyone. Plus I've done a shitty job of explaining the barista. I guess I have 5 20-something girls in my life. My daughter, 3 housemates, and a barista I have a crush on. I call her the barista because I don't know her name. Well, her last name. I know her first name, but I'm too shy to say it on stage. Like it's bad luck, and she'll never appear to me if I do it again. I doubt I'll ever be with a barista, but it's a good story. The concept got me out of depressing thoughts. being alone the rest of my life and never getting laid again. I'm 60 years old, but I'm not dead. Little Dave works just fine. In fact, we plan on having children again, if the barista plays along. The barista's probably half my age. I know nothing about her other than her looks and interactions with customers and coworkers. Half my age is odd, but not as bad as half my height. That would be odd if she was equally proportioned. If she's twice my height, I'd be okay with that. Sex with the giant would be interesting for me. It's probably boring for her, or pedophile-ish. I'm twice as sad as the barista, but she doesn't care about me being broke or anything else about me. I don't think she'll care about that. I'm also twice as ugly, although that comparison doesn't really work if she's not ugly. I'll say her beauty is twice my ugliness. I'm twice as fat, not twice as sad. I'll not be twice as sad, although I might be twice as sad as well, I don't know. I know I said I'm the world's smartest man, and probably am, but she's the world's smartest person because she's probably twice as smart as me, which would make her the world's smartest woman and the world's smartest person. But I remain the world's smartest man, even though I can't say that sentence. Why do I know she's this smart? I'll explain. Before I developed an undeniable, never-ending crush on the barista, I used her. I used her as a character in a script, a smart woman, pretty and out of place. I noticed one day that she remembered my coffee order. It wasn't difficult, but she read it out to me before I had to say it to her. After that moment forward, she basically had my coffee ready for me when I walked into Starbucks. I didn't mistake this as her having an interest in me. I simply noticed as a potential character for one of my scripts. So I kept track. I sat close to the till, and any time she remembered someone else's order, I made a note in my notebook with a description of the person. I was nearing 100 orders that she knew off by heart when the one that broke the camel's back, so to speak, came through the door. Actually, before that, I would call her my crush. I just think to myself, somebody that can remember that many orders surely can remember to submit my taxes every year. A perfect wife. She's young, hot, and pretty. I can't go wrong. Sorry, but I threw a joke in there. Storytelling mode can get a bit boring, even for me, a storyteller. Anyway, the character in my notebook and the real barista were near 100 memorized orders when a gaggle of women came in one day. It wasn't busy. The cashier was in the bathroom, and the barista was making a drive-thru order. The barista noticed the cashier was taking some time to return and asked one of the ladies, "Should I start your usual order?" And then repeated a long, convoluted order back to the lady. Shocked, the lady said yes, and then turned to her friends. "I guess I have a usual." Overhearing the lady, the barista added, "I remember, normally you come in with your students and they all talk about you being a great teacher." The teacher replied, "My students?" To which the barista replied, "Yes, your students." At which point the crush turned into lust, pure evil sexual attraction, and I knew I would do whatever it takes to bed this so-called barista. Or, I sent her manager a complimentary email about her excellent customer service and kindness, and then I found out everything about her and asked her on a date even though she's half my age and assumes I'm nearly homeless based on my clothes and broken laptop, and by some miracle she said yes. Or, I ghosted her. Never went to that. Or I ghosted her. Never went back to that Starbucks, even though it was the perfect distance from my house, had the most comfortable seats, and I haven't seen her for a year, but I spent the entire time expanding the character into the perfect wife, while simultaneously working on becoming a stand-up comedian so I can walk back into that Starbucks and not feel like a complete loser when I ask her out, or when I ask her co-workers if she's single, or if I just hand her everything I've written, walk out, and hope she doesn't call the police. I'll give you a second to guess which one I did. Now, if you laughed, I'm well on my way to making this the world's greatest routine and solving not only my financial issues, but my love life as well. Or if you didn't laugh, and you hate love, I get it. I've been there. Maybe the rest of this love story isn't for you. If I was Elon, I'd just walk up there and say, "Hey, I'm Elon Musk. I'm rich, successful, and make beautiful, intelligent babies." Unfortunately, I'm busy saving the world, so you'll be the primary caregiver, but you and the kids will be set for life, even if all my businesses fail. So are you interested? Then he'd get a yes or no and walk away. Hell, if I could get pregnant, I'd give him a yes. I'm not that lucky. I have to prove my love to her by writing silly comedy stories and standing on stage embarrassing myself until I'm one of those successful comedians, and then return hope she isn't married by then. Although married or boyfriend, I'd wait it out until they had kids if married, and then I'd give up. But a boyfriend is different. For a gamer, there's no ring on the finger. In that case, I'd just make sure one of my videos or a few 100,000 words of mine found a way onto her phone. I just have to be funnier than a boyfriend, and since I'm the world's greatest comedian, it's a shoo-in. I'm clearly delusional. I really should just go back and see if she's working, and see if she'll just sit, and if she is, I'll just sit outside all day reading this routine to anyone who will listen, or until someone calls the cops. Both will probably happen on the same day. Either way, fuck Elon. I'm building my own harem, my own way, one at a time. The barista gets to refuse me first, which she should consider an honor either way. I mean, she'll be jealous as shit when I bring my second pick into Starbucks daily, and she's basically sitting on my lap the entire time, only getting up when the barista is at the till to ask for free refills. No, that sounds mean. I'll just ghost her again and come back a year. Nah, that sounds mean. I'll just ghost her again and come back yearly to see if she's available. Now you know why I don't hit on my housemates. I spend all day writing about the perfect wife. It would feel like cheating on the character. Sorry, I mean the barista, who is a character and a person. They just haven't met each other yet. It gets confusing, which is why it's just easier to ghost her, and she's hot, so there must be a boyfriend anyways. So really it's more of a writing exercise at this point than a crush or love. Or not. Who the fuck knows? Back to my living situation, hopefully some more jokes. Anything funnier than me being a desperate loser with a crazy plan to seduce the barista. I don't hear noise by my roommates except for laughter or loud music. I don't hear any noise by my roommates except for laughter or loud movie. I assume it's the same for me when they watch a movie or I don't hear noise by my housemates. I don't hear noise out of my housemates' rooms except for laughter or a loud movie. I assume it's the same for them when I watch a movie or cry myself to sleep. I'm kidding, of course. I don't cry myself to sleep. I pass out. That's a lie. I'm a 60-year-old man. 60-year-old men don't cry. We build up all of our pent-up frustration and take it out in anger, just like every man, regardless of age. I pay $666 a month rent, perfect amount to charge the devil. I didn't start that amount, it was $600, and with the minimum increase applied yearly, it's now $666. I don't mind. Every month I pretend I'm the devil and it's blood money. I have an overactive imagination. Why else would I try and seduce a stranger half my age without ever talking to her? Either I'm nuts or brilliant. The DSM-5 says I'm nuts. I say comedic genius. My room is pretty noisy. If the window's open, closed is fine, but it gets stuffy. Open at night is fine. Earplugs take care of the noise, but during the day I'm screwed. It's too noisy. You're supposed to force me into the arms of my barista in the first place. Basically, the only time I can write from home in a relaxed environment is if someone dies. Let me explain before you call the cops. I live beside a transit station. Trains come and go every 2 to 5 minutes throughout the day, and I'm beside the on-off ramp to a busy bridge. The only time I get a break is if someone throws himself in front of a train or off the bridge. Then for an hour or so the trains stop while they clean up mess, or the traffic stops and they try to talk the person down from the ledge. Either way I get a decent break from the noise. I know what you're thinking, and I agree, suicide is a bad thing, even though it's legal in Canada. I'm not suggesting more people kill themselves. I'd rather have everyone alive and well. But if they are going to do it anyway, and nobody's going to stop them, why not use the bridge close to my house? And then, like in San Francisco, they could put up some nets or something to catch them, or whatever they've done there. I'll still fuck up the traffic for a while, give me a break, and eventually lower the number of suicides when people know they'll get help at my bridge. Brilliant plan, yes? Not psychopathic at all. Sure, maybe a bit selfish and autistic, but according to the DSM-5, that is who I am. I cannot change my personality, ever. I'm not sure what to do about the train suicides yet, but I'm working on it. They are a lot messier to clean up than a body floating in the river. Maybe they could just slow the fucking train down a bit before it arrives at the station. Less noise for me when they arrive, and if someone jumps in front, they'll just get shoved down the track a bit. Unless they electrocute themselves, then they're fucked. Nothing I can do about electricity. That humor's too dark for you, I don't care. Snow works well too. Enough of it will close the road and the station, but this is Vancouver and snow is rare. I can understand why international students would prefer Vancouver over Toronto or any other cold city. I wear this hoodie and only this hoodie unless it's below zero. They put on winter coats the moment the first tree changes color. I'm not nosy, I'm just observant. Blame the autism, not snoopiness. Two houses beside me are also full of international students. I can't confirm for sure, but the makeup of the tenants are the same. I watch them coming and going. I'm determined to find the spy, or at least have the data ready for the government when they interview everyone in the house about Mohammed. I thought one day I had him. I noticed a pattern of one neighbor who comes home, sits in his vehicle for 10 minutes uploading data to a foreign server before he goes into the house to his girlfriend or wife. I'm not sure which she is, but if he sits out there too long, she comes out and gives him a look, at which point he reluctantly leaves the comfort of his truck. Then I realize he's not a terrorist. He's just preparing home life. He's just preparing for home life like any other Canadian. On a different note, Trump won the election thanks to Elon, which means a bunch of things for the world, but more specifically, Elon will continue with this plan to repopulate the Earth single-handedly, and now have a lineup of women waiting to be impregnated. I think I made a mistake taking the comedic approach and focusing on one woman. I'm clearly not the world's smartest man. However, I'm still the most determined man in the world. Either the barista will be my wife, or I'll continue to write stories about her till I die a long, lonely death in my room and my housemates are forced to call the authorities because of the smell coming out of my room. Because of the smell. I'm kidding, of course. I always keep my window open, so it'll probably take until the end of the month. And end of the month when I haven't paid my $660 rent for the landlord to notice and start pounding my door. I realize this is more pathetic than funny. But the truth hurts until it doesn't. Talk to you tomorrow, Grace.